Intro music fades in and then softens to background. How do you take a country torn apart by over a century of civil war and freeze it into 250 years of peace? It sounds like an impossible task, right? But one man did it. This is the story of Tokugawa Ieyasu, the founder of a dynasty that would define Japan for centuries. He wasn't just a warrior, he was a master strategist, a patient politician, and the architect of an era of unprecedented stability. So, how did this man, who spent his childhood as a political hostage, rise to become the ultimate ruler, the Shogun of Japan? Stick around, because his story is a masterclass in patience, power, and strategy. Let's rewind to the mid-16th century. Japan is in chaos. This is the Sengoku period, the age of warring states. Powerful warlords, called daimyo, are carving up the country, each vying for supremacy. In the midst of this turmoil, in 1543, Ieyasu is born. But his early life is anything but privileged. To secure an alliance, his father sends him away as a hostage to a neighboring clan at the tender age of 6. On the way, he's double-crossed and handed over to a different, more powerful clan, the Imagawa. For over a decade, Ieyasu is a pawn in the games of powerful men, learning firsthand the brutal realities of politics and war. This experience didn't break him, it forged him. He learned to observe, to wait, and to choose his moments carefully. While other ambitious warriors charged headfirst into battle, Ieyasu mastered the art of survival. His chance came in 1560 at the Battle of Okehazama. His master, Imagawa Yoshimoto, was leading a massive army to crush the up-and-coming warlord, Oda Nobunaga. But Nobunaga launched a surprise attack in a thunderstorm and defeated the Imagawa army, killing its leader. Suddenly, Ieyasu was free. He wasted no time, racing back to his home province of Mikawa to reclaim his birthright, and form a crucial alliance with the victor, Oda Nobunaga. This alliance was the cornerstone of Ieyasu's rise. Alongside Nobunaga and another brilliant general, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, they formed a trio that would slowly but surely piece Japan back together. Nobunaga was the ruthless unifier, Hideyoshi the charismatic successor who continued the work, and Ieyasu? Ieyasu was the patient strategist, expanding his own territories while supporting his allies. He was playing the long game. While Nobunaga was known for his motto, "Rule the empire by force," Ieyasu's was different. The strong hawk hides its talons. He rarely showed his full strength, always preferring diplomacy and strategic positioning over reckless confrontation. Then, in 1582, Nobunaga was betrayed and forced to take his own life. This created a power vacuum. Hideyoshi was quicker to act, avenging Nobunaga and consolidating power, eventually becoming the regent of Japan. Ieyasu, despite being powerful enough to challenge him, chose a different path. After a brief conflict, he submitted to Hideyoshi's authority. Why? Because he knew a full-blown war would be costly and that Hideyoshi's rule, while strong, might not be permanent. Ieyasu accepted a deal to move his entire clan to the undeveloped Kanto region in the east, centered around a small fishing village called Edo. To others, this looked like a demotion, moving him away from the center of power in Kyoto. But Ieyasu saw it as a golden opportunity. While Hideyoshi was busy with costly invasions of Korea, Ieyasu was building his power base from the ground up. He turned Edo into a thriving city, developed his lands, strengthened his army, and built a loyal administration. He was creating a self-sufficient fortress, far from the prying eyes of his rivals. He was preparing for the inevitable. The inevitable came in 1598 when Toyotomi Hideyoshi died, leaving behind a 5-year-old son as his heir. Hideyoshi had created a council of 5 powerful elders, including Ieyasu, to govern until his son came of age, hoping they would keep each other in check. But with the great unifier gone, old rivalries flared up instantly. The council fractured into 2 factions, one loyal to the Toyotomi clan, led by the noble Ishida Mitsunari, and the other rallying behind the most powerful man in the country, Tokugawa Ieyasu. The stage was set for the ultimate showdown. On October 21, 1600, the two largest armies Japan had ever seen met on a foggy field called Sekigahara. This wasn't just a battle, it was the battle for the future of Japan. It was a chaotic, brutal affair. For hours, the outcome hung in the balance. Ieyasu's Eastern Army was struggling against Mitsunari's larger Western forces, but Ieyasu, the master strategist, had an ace up his sleeve. He had spent months before the battle secretly contacting several of the daimyo on the other side, promising them land and titles if they switched sides at the crucial moment. As the battle raged, Ieyasu gave the signal. A key general in the Western Army, Kobayakawa Hideaki, suddenly turned his forces and attacked his own allies. This betrayal caused a domino effect. One after another, other warlords switched sides or simply fled the field. The Western Army collapsed in a matter of hours. The Battle of Sekigahara was a decisive victory for Tokugawa Ieyasu. It was the moment his lifetime of patience and planning finally paid off. With all opposition crushed, Ieyasu was the undisputed master of Japan. In 1603, the emperor granted him the title he had long sought, Shōgun. This wasn't just a military title, it made him the de facto ruler of the entire country. But Ieyasu knew that winning the war was only half the challenge. The real test was building a lasting peace. He didn't just want to rule, he wanted to create a system that would prevent Japan from ever descending into chaos again. He established his government in his power base of Edo, which would eventually become modern-day Tokyo. This shifted the political center of Japan away from the emperor's court in Kyoto for good. He then implemented a series of brilliant political controls. He redistributed land, rewarding his loyal followers and punishing his enemies. He created a strict social hierarchy with samurai at the top, followed by farmers, artisans, and merchants, ensuring everyone knew their place. He also implemented the alternate attendance system, which required every daimyo to spend every other year in Edo. Their wives and children, however, had to live in Edo permanently as hostages. This drained the daimyo's finances and kept them under the shogun's constant watch, making it nearly impossible to plan a rebellion. To prevent foreign influence from destabilizing his new order, Ieyasu and his successors implemented the sakoku, or closed country policy. Trade and travel were severely restricted, and Christianity, which was seen as a threat to the shogun's authority, was ruthlessly suppressed. For the next 250 years, Japan was largely cut off from the outside world, developing its own unique culture in an era of peace and stability known as the Edo period. Tokugawa Ieyasu officially retired as shogun in 1605, passing the title to his son Hidetada to ensure a smooth succession, but he continued to rule from behind the scenes until his death in 1616. He did not just win a war, he built a system so robust and effective that the Tokugawa Shogunate would rule Japan for over 2.5 centuries, an unprecedented era of peace purchased by the patience, cunning, and absolute resolve of one man. From a childhood hostage to the unifier of a nation, Tokugawa Ieyasu proved that sometimes the one who waits is the one who wins. What do you think of his methods? Were they genius or tyrannical? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey into Japanese history, please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next story. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.